Now, here's a curious situation for you. Novels frequently get turned into movies, such as on Shine we have the Love Comes Softly series and also The Cross and the Switchblade. But how often do you hear about books becoming songs? Book of Psalms?
Yes, Book of Psalms.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, businessman and author Richard Brunton's writings about the power of blessing have been made into a music album called Songs of Blessing.
You may recognise Richard. He's a close friend of our ministry and he joins us now via Zoom. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Meredith. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, you too. We'll be catching up with your collaborators, David and Dale, on the musical side of things next week. But we're keen to learn more about the books that inspired the music album. So take us back to that moment in Noumea when God started to show you that while praying for someone is important, blessing them is quite special and different.
Well, I was giving a teaching, as you say, in Noumea about 7 years ago to a prayer group, and on the subject of cursing. And I discovered in the process that the French word for cursing was malediction, and the French word for blessing was benediction. And as I thought about that, I thought malediction, that's really bad speaking, and benediction is really good speaking. And I knew that cursing, which is bad speaking, was powerful, but I'd never seen blessing that way. I'd seen blessing as being a low-power sort of word. Someone sneezes, you say bless you, or often people will throw blessings on the end of an email without really meaning it. And I suddenly thought, I wonder if I could speak blessing, if I could do good speaking and get the same kind of impact for good that someone who is cursing is getting a big impact for evil.
So Richard, then what would you say is blessing? How has your understanding of it changed?
Well, blessing it's speaking words of life. It's speaking God's intentions and favour. It's speaking and releasing the kingdom of God. It's speaking and releasing God's agenda, his purposes, his will over someone or some situation. And it's got elements of prophecy about it. It's got elements of proclamation about it. But it is saying more than it is praying. It's exercising our God-given authority to speak and release the kingdom of God. That's how I see it.
So, Richard, what are the fruits of blessing? Like, how have you seen the blessing effect in people's lives?
Well, I could spend all day on this. But I suppose it's in the area of healing to a large degree, healing of body, healing of soul, healing of spirit. I've seen marriages reconciled. I've seen alienation and families reconciled. Children blessed instead of cursed, which happens a lot in Africa. The police force have bought them, soldiers have bought them, armies have bought them, prisons have bought them. It's the most amazing thing, and I've got so many testimonies of the healing of wounds of the heart, physical healing, spiritual healing, particularly forgiveness. When people, I'm amazed at how much unforgiveness there is, even among Christians. And so I have this concept of total forgiveness, where you move beyond simply forgiving somebody to actually blessing them or speaking words of love and releasing God's intentions for them. And it just changes everything. It's amazing the change that happens.
Yeah, it really would. And so, look, we have copies of The Blessing Effect to give away to people. So what will people gain from it if they read it?
Well, really, all of those things I've just said, because the book is largely, two things really. It's the sequel to The Awesome Power of Blessing. So it contains some learning and wisdom that I've had over the couple of years since I wrote the first book. And secondly, it's full of testimonies of healings, of marriages, the Father's blessing in particular. I've spent a lot of time on that. And I think, testimony is very powerful. And so, because if God will do it for so-and-so, then he'll do it for you as well. So it's a book of encouragement. It's a book that testifies of the power of blessing, because, you know, when you bless someone or some situation, you activate the power of God. It's as simple as that.
So what are your hopes for the musical version of your books? I mean, as you say, there's power in speaking words for good. And if singing is like praying twice, how powerful do you reckon Songs of Blessing will be?
Well, you know, I'm not a musician. It's David and Dale's thing. But I think that what music does, it tends to go deeper. There's a part of us that music touches, which I think simply words alone don't touch. And I think hopefully it will lock in some of the messages. For example, one of my favourite songs is the Song of Forgiveness. And I know that people have wept as they've heard that. Mm. So I think that the music is going to touch people in their spirit somehow, in their heart, in a way that words alone don't.
Mm. That's a beautiful thought, Richard, and certainly at a time like this when there's a lot of fear and uncertainty, it's a very timely book as well.